Assalamu alaikum dear students, this is your course instructor Rao Aisha Sadiq, lecturer Department of English, University of Southern Punjab, Multan. Dear student, in today's lecture, we are going to explore transnational allegory and feminist rhetoric in Kamila Shamsi's Burnt Shadows. So, student, Kamila Shamsi's globally acclaimed novel Burnt Shadows through two main lenses. We are going to explore the transnationalism and political allegory and feminist resistance and the representation of female or women's body. Dear student, during this lecture, we will move through the essay step by step, beginning with the broader literary context, then moving into the major arguments, and finally we will reflect on the significance of these ideas for readers and the scholars of Pakistani Anglophone literature. So student, first we see Pakistani women writer and the emergence of a voice. Pakistani women writer in English are relatively few if we compare within their Indian, Bangladeshi counterparts, yet their contribution is remarkable. Writers such as Bapsi Sidhwa, Faryal Ali Gohar, Uzma Aslam Khan and Kamila Shamsi, students have carved out a space for themselves in the global literary arena. If we see some writers quotes Faryal Ali Gohar, who once said that creative writing may be the only avenue of expression for many Pakistani women because social norms often silence them in other public arenas. In that sense, literature becomes a safe yet subversive space where women can articulate the conflicts generated by the patriarchal system. However, Kamila Shamsi doesn't stop at gender. She stresses that Pakistani women writers also occupy a hybrid position. They belong both to the east, to the west, negotiating multiple cultural expectations. This hybrid education gives them a unique perspective, allowing them to challenge national and global hierarchies. So student, if we see the Kamila Shamsi, as she has been termed as the border worker. So border workers mean, this term means a border worker is someone who both belongs and unbelongs, an individual who operate across cultural, linguistic and ideological boundaries. So student, Kamila Shamsi perfectly embodies this definition. She lives between Pakistan, England and the United States. She writes in English but remains deeply connected to Pakistani identity and politics. So student, this position enables her to write as both an insider and outsider, giving her the freedom to critique both Western imperial narratives and internal social hierarchies within Pakistan. So student, Burnt Shadows is written from the this transnational point of view. It is not confined to one nation or one war. It is a novel that travels across continents and decades, weaving together personal stories and world history. Shamsi's fiction, student, it argues the political intervention, a voice that speaks back to Western discourses that often portray Muslims and Pakistan through the narrow lens of terrorism and extremism, especially after 9/11. So student, do you think writer like Shamsi choose to write in English? Why? It is merely for reach, or is also political act to use the colonizer language as a tool of critique? Think about it. We will discuss it in the discussion section. If we see the novel as a transnational allegory, so dear student, Kamila Shamsi's Burnt Shadows is a transnational allegory. It recalls this, if we see the structure of the novel, it opens in Nagasaki, Japan at the movement of the atomic bomb falls in 1945. It then travels through Delhi during partition, Karachi and in Cold War years, Afghanistan, and finally ends in New York after 9/11. Students, through these movements, Shamsi links different movements of global violence, suggesting that the trauma of war and colonialism is universal and cyclical. Each setting becomes a mirror of the previous one. Nagasaki's destruction echoes later conflicts in South Asia and the Middle East. She describes the novel as a political tour de force, one that challenges the conventional centers of power, London, Paris, New York, and replaces them with alternative global centers like Tokyo, Delhi, Kabul, and Karachi. In doing so, Shamsi reshapes globalization from a non-Western perspective. Then if we see the character of Hiroko Tanaka, her body, if we see, at the heart of this novel, she is there. The Japanese protagonist whose back bears the famous bird-shaped burns from the atomic explosion. She describes the living text upon which the violence of history is inscribed. The hideous beauty of her scars symbolizes both trauma and survival. They are hideous because they are result from horrific violence, yet beautiful because they testify the endurance to the possibility of living beyond the devastation. So, Kamila Shamsi explains that women's body in colonial and nationalist discourses are often portrayed as the sites of conflict, places where ideology of purity, honor, and identity are imposed. Hiroko's scars therefore represent how nationalism, war, and patriarchy intersect on the female body. When Hiroko later travels from Japan to India, then to Pakistan and America, her body literally carries the memory of global suffering. This makes her an embodiment of transnational history. She connects East and West, war and peace, loss and survival. So student, pause and think, in what ways do physical scars in literature function as historical memory? How might they challenge the silence around trauma? Think about it. We will discuss in the discussion lecture. Now see the cross borders from Japan to India. After Nagasaki, Hiroko's journey to Delhi, seeking traces of her dead fiancé. Then there she meets Sajjad Ashraf, an Indian Muslim man, and forms a relationship that differs racial, national, and religious boundaries. If we interpret this as Shamsi's critique of nationalist rigidity, Hiroko refuses to be confined by identity labeled Japanese, foreigners, widower, instead embraces hybridity and connection. Her presence in colonial India unsettles James Burton, the British patriarch, who cannot comprehend how an Asian woman can travel alone. His shock, what alone, reveals the deep-rooted patriarchy of colonial society. Their student from this women highlights feminist resistance. Hiroko challenges both colonial power and gender norms, showing that women's mobility is an act of empowerment. She becomes what we may say that a feminist border crosser, someone who breaks both literal and symbolic boundaries at the same time. She inspired Elizabeth Burton, James' wife, through her courage. Elizabeth begins questioning her own subvert role as a colonial wife. This female friendship illustrates the transnational solidarity between women, how empathy can awaken feminist consciousness even across cultural divides. Dear student, language is an important part of this text. If we see the language and the cultural translation, so student, Shamsi devotes an important section of her text to the theme of language. In Burnt Shadows, language functions as both barrier and bridge. Hiroko works as a translator, which becomes symbolic of her larger role as a mediator between culture. She doesn't just translate words, she translates emotions, histories, and worldviews. When we insist on learning Urdu to communicate with Sajjad rather than relying on English, it marks a rejection of colonial hierarchies. English may be the global language, but for Hiroko, genuine intimacy understanding require entering the other's linguistic world. So student, Shamsi's dissect can be called a form of culture translation, an attempt to dissolve strangeness and build human connection. This idea, we can say that is reliant with Chandra Mohanty's call for transnational feminist alliances, communities that resist sexism, racism, and imperialism, so solidarity rather than uniformity. So student, pause here. Pause for a minute and think, can learning another language be a feminist act? In what ways that is challenge power structure? We will discuss it later. So if we see that nationalism, exile and loss as a The story progresses. Partition forces Sajjad and Hiraku to move Karachi. There, Hiraku experiences another cycle of loss when Sajjad is mistakenly killed by intelligence agents. Later, then son Raza becomes entangled in the Afghan war, seeking a sense of belonging that constantly escapes him. So, students, through these repeated displacement, Shamsi makes it illustrate the idea of home becomes unstable. It becomes unstable due to the constant shifting. Nations are temporary, humanity is permanent. She declares it is meaningless to belong to something as damaging as nation. So it can be interpreted as Shamsi's redefinition of nationalism, not as territorial loyalty but as horizontal comradeship, a concept borrowed from Anderson. This is our nationalism of empathy and sheer struggle, not of exclusion. If we see the post 9/11 America, the crisis of understanding in the final part of the novel, Hiraku lives in the United States with Kim, a young American woman. The aftermath of 9/11 creates new division between East and the West. Kim's encounter with Abdullah and Afghan refugees become a microcosm of global understanding. So students, during their tense conversation, Abdullah cites religious justifications for martyrdom, like Kim excuses Islam of violence. This scene, students, exposes the mutual fear and ignorance that defined the post 9/11 world. If we see, it has been highlighted this episode as Shamsi's critique of culture essentialism. Neither Kim's Western education nor Abdullah's faith guarantees wisdom or compassion. Both characters are trapped in their own rigid narratives. When Kim ultimately betrays Abdullah by handing him over to the authorities, Hiraku realizes the tragic repetition of history. She compares America's war on terror to the bombing of Nagasaki, both justified in the name of national security, both dehumanizing the other. She reflects in the big picture of the Second World War. What were 75,000 Japanese dead acceptable in the big picture of the threats to America? What is one Afghan? So student, if we see its more expandable form, this realization embodies Shamsi's central concern, the cyclical nature of political violence and the moral blindness of global power. So student, if we see the Hiraku's final vision, the hope and the healing, by the end of the novel, she has witnessed almost every form of modern catastrophe: nuclear war, partition, terrorism, racism, and exile. Yet, unlike many tragic figures, she is not broken. It has been pointed out that Hiraku is not cracked by multiple migration, as Mina Alexander once described herself. Rather, Hiraku remains connected to the people, to memories, to ideals. She represents what we can say that the psychic healing, a capacity to integrate pain into wisdom. Her scars become emblems of global solidarity, a map of suffering that unites rather than divides. Through Hiraku, Shamsi possesses a model of transnational feminism grounded in empathy, resilience, and coexistence. So student, Shamsi's fiction is transnational. It dismantles the binary of East and West and replaces it with interconnected histories. The novel is a political allegory. Each episode from Nagasaki to 9/11 symbolizes global patterns of domination, resistance, and misunderstanding. Hiraku's she embodies feminist resistance. Her physical scars are emotional endurance, transforms suffering into agency. If we see the language and translation become tools of healing. So dialogue and cross-cultural communication, Shamsi imagines a world beyond borders. Ultimately, Burnt Shadows calls for compassion. It reminds us that humanity's survival depends not on political alliances, but on shared empathy and understanding. So student, we can conclude that Shamsi's work serves as an antidote to the divisive politics of our times, a narrative that transforms pain into possibility of peace. So student, before we wrap up, let's consider a few reflective questions. I will discuss it in discussion session. How does Shamsi's treatment of nationalism differ from traditional patriotic narratives? In what ways does the body become a site of political writing in Burnt Shadows? And finally, student, what can Burnt Shadows teach us about living ethically in an interconnected yet divided world? So student, take a few moments to think about these questions. They may help you connect with Kamila Shamsi's basic debates in post-colonial and feminist theory. So student, this hideous beauty of bird-shaped burns is not just a academic analysis, it is a call to reimagine literature as a bridge between culture. So through Kamila Shamsi's Burnt Shadows, student, we got to know the cross borders even when politics cannot. The novel's journey from the ashes to Nagasaki to the smoke of 9/11 remind us that while nations rise and fall, the human capacity for empathy endures. So student, this is all about today's lecture. I have posed some questions for you to think about. So think about, we will discuss in the discussion session. Thank you for listening. Allah Hafiz.